government. So I can elaborate a bit that the German Development Cooperation, which we are part of, we are bound into the international movement and declarations like the Jakarta Principles or European Charter for Fundamental Rights, but it's also the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which might be quite crucial for the topic which we are discussing today. And I must say today's event couldn't be placed better in time, because it's I perceive it as let's say, a global movement to have inclusion as a more important and integral part of our thinking, but also of our practical implications. Unfortunately, people with disabilities still experience a disproportional high level of disadvantages due to numerous barriers in the social and physical environment. I mean, sometimes it's just infrastructure barriers in infrastructure, that things or places are not accessible, or that people are stigmatized depending on because of their disability. I was very impressed by the performance which we have just seen this morning, and one message as I got it was that they said we are speaking for 16% of the world population. Now if we look to the 16%, that's the average level. The interesting part is that among women in this world there are 18% disabled women, and it's just below 14% of disabled men. And that's an interesting difference, and I think it reveals us that disabilities are unequally distributed. And women have more disabilities, but they are, in particular, if they are disabled to some extent, there's a likelihood that they are victims of violence that's 4 times higher. So that it's really a risk for this group of the population. And there's also a link between poverty and disability. They are often mutually dependent. For example, people with disabilities, they have a higher risk to fall into poverty, and people who are living in poverty are also very much at risk or higher risk to have to become disabled. Germany has signed also the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So our confession is the slogan, leave no one behind. So this is relevant also for many other actors here in this room. So this means that there has to be a systematic consideration of inclusion of people with disabilities, and the German development policy tries to pursue the cross-sectoral goal of systematically anchoring the inclusion of persons with disabilities in the German Development Cooperation through policy making and involvement also in international fora and committees. And maybe later I could also explain a bit more what's coming up next year in terms of high-level events which are also relevant for this topic.
Thank you very much, Dr. Andreas, for those